And welcome back on this Thursday morning. Almost forgot yesterday was Wednesday all day. Since we're back from vacation, I'm a little bit off. All right, let's talk about that weather. I am. 56, 57 degrees. Feels really nice this morning. High temperatures around 83. We do have rain in the forecast today, tomorrow, and of course the next day. And our temperatures are going to be sticking around those 80s, so just enjoy the week. Not bad at all. I do have to share a photo with you. This is Mr. McMeans, this little boy, Jimmy. Look at that, how cute. He goes around saying he's got Jamie Cooper hair now. He tells everybody he's Jamie Cooper.
That's great.
He's going to bring him back
here. In my mouth.
He was just being quiet for the photo. He's going to bring him up here one morning, so we're looking forward to that.
I just told Bill, I apologize for the activity in here this morning, and you said you're a family-friendly attorney.
I am.
Right.
I got toys in my office, and kids come in and play, and parents say, you know, they'll fuss at their kids and try to tell them to be quiet. And I said, listen, it doesn't bother me at all. I've had kids, and I just tuned it out.
Well, at Christmas, you used to do the Santa Claus thing, too.
Yeah,
Did you do that?
I had it, and then the chamber chose to move it just right next door to me because it was bigger. But when it was in my office, you could video and hear.
I came down there and
you could hear Santa Claus talking.
Yeah.
To the children.
To the children, but when they moved it next door, it's so big and loud you can't hear.
Yeah, I shot
if you're
video down there, I think.
Aww.
5 or 6 years ago.
Right.
That always
Huge
was a
crowd
great
in
crowd.
there. Huge crowd in there.
Yeah.
I just had a thing too. I saw it said none of y'all are going to get fat watching this show. It said people get fat, eat more when they're watching boring television. Well, that will not happen watching this one.
That's right.
So that's right. So you always something to do here. You know, we do cook out from time to time.
We can't eat. We're talking too
Bill,
much.
talked to some inspectors recently in Limestone County, and then reading the article in the Decatur Daily and in the local paper here, talking about that building is booming in Athens and Limestone County. What is that attributed to besides the #1 closing attorney in this part of the area country?
Yeah. Well, I think it's. I think the main thing is the job market's getting a little bit better. Of course, you know, we have all kinds of industries coming here, and I can't give any details, but I was privy to a discussion where there's another big company looking at Athens.
Who is it?
And I can't give anything. If, you know, if I told you I'd shoot
Bill,
you.
this is an opportunity for you to step out of the bar.
Yeah. And never
I'm
be
gonna tell
included
the world
again.
this morning.
That's right.
And never be included in those nice
and never be
conversations.
invited back to their meetings again.
I had a lunch with a guy that's got a job at Huntsville at Boeing, and he had a job recruiter call him up, trying to recruit him to go to another company in Huntsville, and he said that hadn't happened in 5 or 6 years. So,
Good.
you know, I think the economy's doing a little bit better, and you know, last year we had all the negative stuff with sequestration, and then they shut down the government, and so I think people have everything's bottled up, and now people are at the point where they feel more secure, and they're buying more houses, and there's more jobs, and I'm not. It's not anything like it was 5 years ago in 2000.
Do you think it'll ever? I don't think it'll ever get back that way.
Or I don't know if it will either.
Yeah.
It was, you know, the economy was going good, and then we had BRAC was coming, so everybody got ready for that, and then, you know, BRAC came, and we just didn't have as big of a downturn because of BRAC. We still had a downturn, but BRAC helped us on that.
We didn't get what we thought we were going to get.
We didn't get what we thought we were going to get, no.
And a lot of people overbuilt.
Right.
A lot of people overbuilt.
And,
But you know, you still have a hard time selling houses that are over 300,000.
I read an article the other day, and it wasn't here, but it was somewhere across the nation, and a good question for Tom too. And it said that people now, there's not a lot of availability of homes, older houses, Mark, because a lot of people, because of the interest rates, are staying in that house because they can't afford it. If they buy another one, they're going to pay a lot more for it.
That's right. Yeah, that's a negative aspect to it.
So, but you said $300,000 houses there. I don't think they're selling it well. But at the same time, I read an article in the Decatur Daily today that said some larger houses now are starting. More people are wanting the 4,000 and 5,000 square foot houses. So,
That's good.
Yeah, that's real good.
That's good.
I think it's getting better. It's not booming yet, but it's definitely
Getting better.
absolutely better than it was this
Somebody
time
like
last
you
year.
that handles closings, though, you would have a pulse on how it's going.
Right.
And you see a dramatic increase from what's
yeah.
been the last couple of years.
Oh, I see a lot more sales. A lot more sales this summer. Sure do.
Now, when do people choose a closing attorney, which is what you primarily do a lot of, among other things?
What happens is when you enter into a contract, a lot of times the seller will, pay some money towards the purchase price. If they do that, then the seller gets to pick the attorney.
Okay, that's how that works.
But if the buyer, if they pay everything, then they get to pick the attorney. A lot of times the attorney's picked by whoever, wants the attorney the most. A lot of times it's the realtor. They have an attorney they like to use that they trust and they like to use, so the realtor has a big impact on it. The bank really technically has the final say in it, because if the lawyer's not on their approved list, then they can't do the closing. But most lawyers are on most banks' approved lists, so that's not really an issue. But the point is, if you're having a closing, you're doing a closing, you can have some input. And a lot of people who are purchasers don't realize that. They don't realize that, here they're buying this house and they have a voice, and you do have a voice, and you can express that as to what attorney you want to pick.
Is it hard juggling doing what you do as closing, and then being the judge in Ardmore, and then coming around and doing also handling divorce and stuff like that? Is that get confusing at times?
Yeah, back in 2007 and 8 and real estate's really all I did. There was plenty of it, but with the economy not as good, I've had to diversify. And so, it is wearing several different hats. It is, but I'm not any different than a lot of people. A lot of people that are realtors, they have another job, and a lot of people.
Yeah, everybody had a real estate license 5-6 years ago.
Right. The nice thing about being a lawyer is that you can do several different things. There's all kinds of different areas in law that you can practice. So that's what's nice, is you can be diversified.
There's no danger of people not doing dumb things,
Now,
is there?
Do you
No, that's right.
Well, when you're coaching, and you've been coaching for what, probably 10 or 15 years,
Right.
your oldest son just graduated, do people approach you like they would Dr. Alan Coleman? Oh, I got a chip tooth here. What can, do they say, hey, or do they call you the Holy Bill?
I got a question.
I got a question.
Oh, yeah. I was approached when I walked in the door here today.
By a church member.
Yeah, I'm approached all the time,
What do you tell
like,
them?
and it's things like family reunions and stuff like that. And then if there's a member of the family going through a divorce,
Oh, boy.
and it could be in another state, they'll call me weekly and ask my advice. Even though they have an attorney, they'll call me.
You're not charging them.
Yeah, that's right. And so it is interesting. It's kind of like, I can imagine how medical doctors feel. I bet you they're asked questions all the time.
Would you ever send anybody a bill for that?
No, never have.
No.
I never have. No, I don't do that.
Having should have been a lawyer, since I've been through so many divorces, but
No, I should be a lawyer handling many of your.
Ooh.
that's difficult.
Yeah.
I practice
you
with
got
that
to put up with
license.
so much.
Yeah, when you're dealing with the general public, it's kind of bad, and then people demand things out of you, and they, a lot of times people think it's your fault as a lawyer when certain things happen, and
Well, you have to go by the
not.
guidelines regardless.
Right.
And sometimes they have so many just little bitty questions, but they're so important to them, and they
Oh,
want to
yeah.
know now, and that's
Yeah, I guess
difficult.
that's a good point
Yeah.
she's making. You call your lawyer and you want a question answered, and it might
time
be
is
3
valuable.
days. I'm going, but
I wanna
to
know
them,
now.
or
Yeah.
the ones I've used in the past, it was nothing.
Right.
It's just part of it. We've
And
heard
everybody
that
thinks
question a
it's the most
thousand
important
times.
thing on earth. How do you deal with people like that?
Well, a lot of people, I will give them my cell phone number, and I'll tell them to call me if it's an emergency. But one of the ways I handle it is I'll tell people, call up and ask my assistant. And I said, I'll be going in and out of appointments. It's hard for me to sit down and it's really hard for me to sit down and make a phone call, because a lot of times that turns into 15 minutes. And I've only got a couple minutes between appointments. So if they'll ask my secretary the question, then my secretary asks me, and my secretary calls me and give them the answer.
Yeah, because you talk to her.
Right. Like in between appointments, they'll stop me and ask me the question. I'll give her the answer, and they'll call them back and tell
I
me.
just heard a commercial running yesterday on one of the radio stations I was listening to, and it was a new attorney I'd never heard of him. It was 2 guys, I don't remember their name, and wouldn't mention it if I did, but it said, when you call our law firm, we won't show up at court and say, is Mr. Jackson here, or whatever his name is. You'll see us immediately, and you'll only talk to us. You won't talk to someone or one of our assistants.
Yeah.
Well, either they don't have no business.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, how is that
Yeah.
exactly?
You can't do that.
Oh. You can't do it now. You can.
Well, you just take 2
You
cases.
can call
a
people
month?
back in the afternoons.
Right.
After work's over, you can call people back. But if
Yeah.
you're calling in and they're in court, they're going to have to talk to your assistant.
Exactly.
All right, back to.
Or not get an answer, which
Yeah,
is probably
that's right.
worse.
So I know you had said business was picking up basically tremendously the last several months
Yeah.
here in Limestone County.
Right.
What is it about this area so many people want to live here, you think? I mean, you've raised three
I
kids
think,
here and.
I think it's just we're a bedroom community of Huntsville and Decatur. Now, I do think we've got to be careful. I think, you've had the superintendent of education on about that
Yeah.
new high school. I think we've got to get that new high school because Decatur's building 2 new high schools. Priceville's building a new high school,
Hartsville just
and
built
Hartsville's
one.
building a new high school. And that's our neighbors to our south. And then
good
to the east, we've got a new high school at James Clement, and then they're going to put about $40 million into Bob Jones. And so I think we're at the point where we've got to get a new high school because when people
Not the
come to
point
the community,
nobody's really mentioned about the schools being built around us.
yeah, and
And
the
people look for good schools
Right.
to move into those communities.
exactly. I think it's hurt us that the intermediate school is on the western part of town because most people
Yeah.
move to the eastern part of town, and when they find out they've got to drive there, now we do have a bus system, and the bus system, it helps us because your kids can get on the bus and drive over there, but a lot of people will drive their kid to school and then turn around and drive to work.
Right.
And so I think that has hurt us. I think the intermediate school should be centrally located, should be in the middle of the town and not
Is
be
that in
on
the
one
plan to
side.
move it?
And I don't think so. But I wish they combine a couple elementary schools and put them in it.
Well, I
and then-
remember the first day of school
Good
this year,
thoughts.
back in September, I was over interviewing Percy Sledge in a hurry to get back. Didn't think about being the first day of school, Joseph. Hey, Mr. Cooper, well, we're not going to give you a ticket today, though.
We're warning everyone today.
Forgot all about it.
You
All
may
right,
call
thank
his
you,
name
Bill.
out.
You got one going off to college, don't you?
Yes, I do. We went to Camp War Eagle last Thursday and Friday, and the interesting thing about that is the parents get there at 7:30 in the morning, and we go until 7:30 that night.
Oh.
Then the next day it's 7:30 until 4. They make us
You
take
ain't
all this.
school.
Well, they make us take all these classes and try to prepare us for what's going to happen. The main thing is try to keep the kids from flunking out
Oh, wow.
and tell us everything they'll do. Stuff we wouldn't dream of.
Really?
Yeah.
We're shut
I don't
up.
have to worry about that. None of mine made it that far. All right, Bill. Bill Mathews right there on the east side of the square. Y'all go around and give him a call today, 232-2310. Thank you, Bill. Close your house if you're buying or go by and see him for any advice
Ask
you need.
for him.
Or just ask him on the street when you see him.
No,
That's right,
call
yeah.
his office.
And I'll bill you. Oh, we'll take a break and be right back. Y'all, hang on.
Local and loving it.